Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Spence.
Good morning. It's
Good
great to be
morning.
here and networking with you on the network.
I know that Nick is on his way back or already back. Maybe he'll join. And Gal, I'm not sure. I don't remember if he said he was not gonna be here, but we'll see. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, DudeInIT.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
And brought to you by the number 6.
Number 6.
Remember that on Sesame Street?
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, what's going on?
Not too much. I decided a couple of things we were doing with our binge watching. We've been finding creative ways to watch stuff. The new tactic, it seems, is to throw a series out there like on Amazon or on another streaming service, the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And then to watch the successive seasons, you have to subscribe.
Really?
So, yeah, that's what I've been seeing lately. So we found a few different, for example, there's one called Unforgotten, which is a very good British police procedural about a cold case.
That's the name of it? I forgot?
Unforgotten.
Oh.
I forgot. The name is I Forgot. Huh? Unforgotten. Very good. But to watch the last season, it's the way it premiered in the United States is through Masterpiece Theater, but it's a British show. So there are different ways to watch it. But when the new season premiered, it was being broadcast over UNC TV. We didn't know this. But to watch it, you got to pay. So we've been trying to find creative ways to watch inexpensively or free. But there's a series of movies that were done. I don't know that they were theatrically released. I think they were done for channels called Jesse Stone, which is Tom Selleck as a police chief in a Massachusetts town. Really good. Really good. There's probably 10 of them. And started to watch them. And of course, watch 2 or 3 and watch next episode. Here's ways to watch it, ways to buy it. And I was like, I'm not buying this to watch an episode. So I found a couple of places that you can stream them online. And whether they're authorized or not, I can't say. Probably not. But the point is that, do I want to run this window on my laptop, not knowing what's happening in the background? Right. You know what I'm saying? It says here, watch here, click here. A viewer opens up and you're watching it. Like, well, how do I know I'm not loading malware or something on my machine? Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out which of from my library of older laptops do I want to use to create a streaming machine. Now I've got easy way to show it on my TV is HDMI. I have a cable just coiled up. Mm-hmm. One of the ones you gave me, just coiled up, ready to go if I want to.
Yeah, but it's through a Windows machine.
Through a Windows machine. Or the other one I have is I had rebuilt my Mac.
That's the one you should use.
But it's pretty much, But it's pretty much stripped. I mean, I don't have a lot. I don't have any documents on it anymore. I do have iTunes Music, which is one thing I need to make sure I back up. But I thought about, well, why not just use that? Because I won't. There's no banking on it. There's no
Right.
confidential stuff. So if it does get compromised,
Yeah.
so but the problem with that was I ran into is that it has a display port, Thunderbolt display port on it. So I don't have an HDMI port. So I ordered one. It was like $12. So I'm going to see how that works. And I know it works good. It's fast now with the SSD. And the other option would be to use one of my older iPads if I can figure out a reliable way to stream it that it isn't choppy. So from the iPad to the TV. So I just started.
You were mentioning something about an enclosure for an M2.
Oh yes, this is really. We'll talk about this during the specials too. But I didn't know this existed. Today, every week preparing for the specials, there's always something new happening as far as the way that the retailers do their ads. And this week I went back to Staples, Office Depot, Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I always seem to have so much trouble with is Best Buy because it seemed to change every week. Well, this week it was Office Depot. Their page did not load properly. So you go click on deals and said, I'm sorry, this page is no longer available. So I had to kind of go in and grope my way through this long list of, there was no way to go in and say, well, what is today's special?
And you always discover new things this week.
Oh, yeah. So, but that's why it took a little longer today, was because I had to figure out a different way to find it. But going around on it, was it that page? No, it was actually it was Office Depot. I found a USB-C to M2. It's a NVMe SSD enclosure. And these are the SSDs that you install on the system board.
That's they look like a memory module.
Right. And so you can now build, and I'll show you later, it comes with an internal board to mount it, which is essentially it looks like a PCIe socket.
Yeah, it is.
And then it has a USB controller on it. And it does support USB-C, so it's fast. But it does come with an adapter cable. So if you don't have USB-C direct, you can go into USB-A. And it's expensive, it's $70. But what a great form factor if you want to carry something around with you. And it is just a big heatsink, which is great. It's really robust. It slides into the case. So that was a find. I expect there'll be more of these.
Yeah, as time goes.
Available. I think there are. So I just happened to stumble across this one. So, yeah, I was excited about this. I'm going to try this.
That's nice.
Because I like to have a big drive, take a big drive with me when I go work on people's machines. That was another thing that happened this week. I went to a customer who I did a remote visit to check that all his backup stuff was working properly. And he told me how his Lenovo X1 Carbon. Oh, what was his? It's an X1 Carbon Yoga. Was there Yoga there stuff? It was a touchscreen Ultrabook, ultralight.
Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's the one where he was getting all kinds of weird battery issues, where he'd be sitting there using a machine. It said, battery not detected, right? Plugged in, and it shuts down. And he said it would happen multiple times during the day, and he'd have to restart the machine and get it to come back. And then when I said, well, there's things I need to do, like update BIOS and all kinds of drivers. And there's a procedure from the Lenovo page on how to reset the battery. You have to you have to take the cover off and pull the cable on the battery, which is not a big deal, but just you have to, I had to go there. So I went to his house. And so while I'm working on it, loading I loaded new BIOS, new Intel management software, new Intel management firmware, a couple other things that were critical drivers. Then I did the battery thing. But while I was doing that, every time I'd come back after restarting the machine, it would come back and say battery charged to 233%. Well, that's good. That's amazing how they
That's great.
more than doubled the capacity of your battery magically.
just by changing
Yeah,
firmware.
it was
Yeah,
amazing. So
Anyway,
I did pull I took the cover off, pulled the battery cable, you hold down the power button to discharge any capacitors, plug it back in, reboot it, came up, said battery charged to 98%. Pull the cable. Here's the other weird thing. It'd be running on battery power, but it'd never show the battery strength. You
Mhm.
pull the cable out, nothing changed. You put it back in, nothing changed. The brightness, nothing changed. So now when you pull the cable out, it comes back and you see the little charge lightning bolt go away. It says, battery 98%. So I ran it on battery for a while until I saw it drop to 97%. So I know it was working.
When was this?
Wednesday?
When
What do you mean?
did you do this?
This week.
I know. I mean, like what? Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Friday? And he's been using it.
Yeah, and it's been fine.
Okay.
So this was all. The good news is that, online I found a lot of people had success with this procedure to reset the battery, but I wanted to make sure that the physical side of it was working properly. So it was good.
Oh, nice. Gene is asking, what's the location of your background picture?
Gene, that is the Shetland Islands. That is a picture taken from a cruise ship back in 2019. We took a 12-day around the United Kingdom cruise where we stopped in Ireland, Northern Ireland, a couple of stops in Scotland, Edinburgh, one stop in France, one stop in the Guernsey Island and the Channel Islands, and then back to Southampton, England. So that's the Shetland Islands in the background.
Shetland,
like Shetland ponies, little ponies,
like chitlings.
Yes.
Hey, Gail. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry for joining late.
Oh, it's fine.
We're all done. That's it for today. Thanks for coming.
Okay, then bye.
We covered everything. We're all done. We were just talking about how I found an M2 enclosure for SSDs.
No, for M2s.
For M2 style SSDs, the
Okay.
NVMe.
Yeah.
So you can get they're expensive, but you can buy an enclosure for it now with USB-C. Yeah, so it's cool.
Oh, what? No, talk. You have to talk.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the
It's like
sticker
a
I
heat
put
sink,
on
yeah.
it. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I bought one a long time ago. I think it was some kind of deal. Like an upcoming seller on Amazon or something like that. It was like, so it wasn't very expensive. And yeah, and an NVMe I took out of a laptop or something that was defunct, and I got to use it. So I got a portable 256 gigabyte drive that way. It was great. So yeah.
Yeah, I love this form factor. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely very good. And yeah, and the design of this one specifically is nice because there's a place for the cable with it. So
Do it. Yeah.
yeah. See. So
This
you
the
found
one-
one good?
Yeah,
The good one?
it's Triplite makes it, and it's the case itself is a solid heatsink.
Yeah, this one as well. That
Yeah.
was interesting. When I didn't know it when I bought it. I thought I was buying something plastic, but when I got it, it was
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah.
It has an internal board with the USB-C controller, and then the
Yeah.
Hopefully
It's a nice-
those power supplies in it, that board, that controller board is better than USB
Oh,
external cases one.
Well, you don't have any. I mean, it's very low voltage because you don't have any motor. So it's
That's good point. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically a very high end USB stick, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. A faster one for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah. It says it's USB 3.1 Gen 2.
Yeah, I don't know if mine is Gen 2. I think it's I bought it before Gen 2 was like widespread, but
Yeah.
it does the
Yeah,
job.
I have it in the specials from Office Depot. It's $70.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's expensive. Now I know I looked and I saw there were a couple other ones out there that didn't look as robust as this, but
I don't
I think you
remember how
could
much I
drive. You
paid
could
for it.
drive over this one with your car. I think it would survive.
Yeah, the one I have also is like really sturdy, so I know what you mean by that. But it, I mean, to be honest, I don't give it enough use. Uh, but it did help me when on my trip to Israel. I just used it to copy a lot of family photos and stuff from my dad back in Israel. So
I like it just to take with me in my kit when I go to customer locations. I carry
yeah,
flash
of
drives with me,
course.
but this would be so much faster. Just to have I used to carry like a 4 terabyte external drive with me,
Oh,
just because
okay.
I'd run into a situation where I'd have to back something up or make a copy or an image or something, and I just
So what stick did you put in it?
I didn't do it yet.
No.
I just saw it. I just saw this available when I was putting the specials together today.
Yeah, so definitely I recommend. What I don't remember is putting of it. I don't remember if it was successful or unsuccessful. I remember looking into it, but I don't remember the results. So definitely worth a check there.
How long have you had it?
For a while, I'm just I think I bought it on Amazon, so I'm checking because
And you
I
don't
don't
remember
remember.
how much it was.
No, that's the thing. I want to see if I can find it, and then I can give the details.
The other thing I stumbled
So,
across this week. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
no,
go
no.
ahead.
Fine.
Was remember Hiron's boot disk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still around.
It's still around, and it's now you can get it with a Windows 10 PE. I found the
Yeah,
procedure for creating a flash drive, bootable flash drive, to
I've
load
seen
Hiron's,
I've
but
seen
it's
the
Windows 10.
forum or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna play with that. That'd be nice to have.
So I bought mine October 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the price? View the invoice. Wow, that was cheap compared to what you said. It's $25 it was.
Hmm.
But that was 2019. Like
And
that's
now
That,
pre-pandemic. That's
that
yeah.
should have been more expensive back then. That's interesting.
you would think.
Uh-huh. And what's this?
That's if anybody's interested, they can go and research and price
Well,
different
Yeah,
just
ones
but
on the net.
it's definitely like a no-name brand, right? I was looking for something. I think it was very high rated then, but it was really cheap, but it was also like completely new. USB 3.1,
No, this is USB C.
Type C, USB 3.1.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know even if the terminology is right, right?
maybe they mean Type C and USB or USB 3.1. Maybe I don't.
Probably.
this
I
one
don't
has a USB-C port on it, but comes with a USB-C to A cable. So you
Yeah.
could
So
either go with a
that's
native C to C or A to C.
yeah, that's it. But of
Yeah.
course, I'm looking at the link itself. It isn't available. So
Mhm. They went out of business. They sold it too cheap.
it could be they sold. Yeah. So yeah, it's like the add-ons, the browser add-ons where you can see price history. So this thing ends October 2019. It sold at first at around $50 a few months before, and then it dropped to the price I bought it, and then it went defunct. So it seems like this was like a fire sale of somebody buying like stock from someone. But it's not like there's any continuation of that.
No.
Interesting.
All right, now listen to this. If you own a Chevy Bolt, that's the electric GM electric car, or if you are somewhere and you see one in a parking lot,
Run.
General Motors urge some owners of Chevy Bolt electric cars to park and store the vehicles at least 50 feet away from other cars.
What?
To reduce the risk of a spontaneous fire could spread. So now they have social distancing for Chevy Bolts.
Are these the ones that the mandates is going to standardize on? For electric vehicles, we're going to have to all buy volts. They don't make them anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was one of them.
I don't know. What were you going to say, Gal?
No, I mean, it's like, I understand if they would recall, right, for battery repairs or something like that. But doing a public warning, don't stand next to our car. Come on.
No, they don't make them anymore.
Oh,
they stopped making them. Yeah, they said here. Article says farewell Chevy Volt.
Not Volt.
Volt.
Bolt with a B.
Bolt.
Yeah.
Well, is that the next generation?
I don't know.
Because it used to be the Chevy Volt.
Yeah, there used to be.
There's Volt and there's Bolt.
Okay, so the Bolt is a replacement then. Okay.
But both of them, the Chevrolet Volt, this is a Wikipedia page, and how do you know something is dead? It says it was.
Yeah.
But here it says is. So, but yeah, model years 2011, 2019. That's weird.
Yeah, so they have a 2021 Chevy Bolt.
Yeah. So I
guess when they mean what they mean by bolt is if you see it, run. Bolt.
Chevrolet Bolt.
It's interesting. It's just to prevent fire from spreading. So if it blows, it doesn't catch other cars. So they need to have.
In other words,
don't park it at home.
Don't park it at home. Don't go to a valet parking.
Yeah.
Hell, it's like park it outside of your community. It's like
the wheels have fallen off. Guys.
And if you are going somewhere where there is a valet, tell them do not park it close to a Chevy Bolt.
And say we only stop at valets where the guys are wearing Nomex suits.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, as of August, this is the Wikipedia page, the first paragraph. So they already updated the community, the Wikipedia community already updated.
Warning.
As of August 2021, GM has issued a statement advising owners to park in open areas at least 50 feet away. This is nuts.
This is nuts. Why can't they just fix it?
Well, did you know that GM, because it was bailed out, and I don't know that they ever sold the stock back when the government bought the stock, but supposedly a lot of their warranties were voided when they went bankrupt.
Wow. So
that, like, if you had a car older than a certain date and you had a warranty issue that was normally recovered, you're out of luck. Like the type of warranties that go beyond just a few years are things like emission controls and all that are supposed to be warranted for, in some cases, 100,000 miles. And when they declared bankruptcy, all those things were basically voided. And whatever they came back to offer was like out of willingness to do that, not by obligation. So.
Okay. There is a recall for 140,000 vehicles.
I would think this is a safety issue. They can't
Yeah.
skirt this by saying, sorry, we're
It's not
bankrupt.
enough, until that is recalled, right? But this creates like a scare. I don't know. There's
Sure.
something doesn't. I mean, I understand a complete recall, but even after the recall, right, is stay away from our cars. Come on.
Well, I think there's a lot of not disinformation about electric cars, but there's things about electric cars that most people, when you mention it, don't know. And that is, if you're in an accident with an electric car, hazmat has to be called.
Yeah.
Because of the batteries, because it's
Because of
potential
the,
the potential leak of lithium, which is very, very toxic. And if you do have an accident with an electric car, it first has to go to a special processing center where they remove the battery so it can go to the body shop. And the body shop has to be specially trained to work with an electric car. It's not just it's a bent car, we can fix it. So the people that work there have to go through a special certification process, which makes it all that much more expensive to fix because of the.
I mean, that's a price of introducing.
Oh
new
no, and
technologies.
I'm not. I'm just saying people aren't aware of that. So you don't know that the people who buy an electric car, they don't say, oh, by the way, when you have an accident, make sure you understand that there's going to be. Tell the fire department when they come, or the first responders are going to say, this is an electric car, this is a hybrid car, electric car. They have to know that because they have to come prepared, because they could have, in some cases, they have to build a barrier around it to protect, in case the battery leaks. So
It's a 50-foot barrier.
no, they encapsulate it in a dome, and they bring a helicopter in. They have a big grappling hooks, and they pick it up and take it away.
That's interesting. It is definitely interesting. All right. Intel has pivoted on its server strategy in order to fight a supply constraint, AMD. It's reportedly flooding the market with chips at discount pricing rather than sticking to MSRP. So, in order for, the rest of the article was talking about the fact that how AMD is surpassing Intel.
Market share?
Hmm?
Market share, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how everybody is jumping to the Ryzen. So
they're lowering prices
and the speed and all that. Intel is trying to get people back to Intel. So the first thing they can do is
cut prices.
Cut pricing. So that's good for us.
But
are you familiar with the term dumping?
Yeah.
On the marketplace, are they considering this to be a move? Because sometimes dumping is done.
They don't call it dumping here. They call it flooding.
Flooding. Okay, same idea. But it's for marketing reasons. And
it's for marketing.
But sometimes companies will do that to force another company out of business.
Well,
like steel prices. We had an issue with steel for a while where the prices coming from outside the U.S. was so low, they were doing it at a loss to make the companies in the United States suffer. So it's.
They were also talking about the fact that if they're looking at both companies, Intel has an advantage. Intel has their own factories, plants to produce. AMD does not.
Intel is a behemoth compared to
right. So
AMD is a small company compared, right?
Right.
So
right.
It's funny because people always compare them on merit, right? On efficiency, on stuff. They are the only competitor in the PC market, but they are a David next to a Goliath. It's like they're puny. So yeah.
So it may be a good time to upgrade.
Well,
If anybody has an Intel, because
first of
we're
all,
talking about server chips, not
right, server chips.
Yeah.
So it's the machines that to start with are usually bigger, noisier,
Require a
and
lot of
hotter.
cooling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably not the home market that this is guided to. It's to those who buy in bulk more. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, probably trying to get system builders to scoop up all that inventory.
And talking about chips and stuff, the latest version of Radeon software adds an unusual and welcome new twist: the ability to automatically overclock your Ryzen processor if you are rocking an all AMD gaming desktop. As your GPU software can speed up your CPU now too, and it can do it all with a single click. The addition of Ryzen auto overclocking in Radeon software 21.9.1 continues the theme and might just allow you to ditch AMD's separate Ryzen master tool if you're running a Team Red graphics card. There'll need to be newer hardware, though, as the feature currently only supports AMD latest Ryzen 5000 CPUs and Radeon RX 6000 GPUs currently. But it's nice. You have your software for your video card, and it can speed up your Ryzen processor. Neato.
interesting.
It's interesting that the lead story on Extreme Tech is AMD denies prioritizing mining cards over gaming GPUs.
Well, what do you want them to say?
I want them to say for the next 2 weeks, everything is free.
No, okay, okay. Well, Gal, take care of it.
Hey, Gal, here's something you'd be interested in. Did you see Elon Musk's announcement that Starlink beta ends in October? So they're speculating that they're going to go to open adoption and higher speeds.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the whole concept of Starlink is definitely intriguing. I didn't know how to even grasp it when it was announced, but the performance that people are reporting out of it is like amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I that RV thing that I found,
Yeah.
where the guy talked about how to get around the location limitations. Mainly, their perspective is because they move all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to give them a fixed address in order to get the service, and then you can, once you get it, you can apparently move it. But
Right.
that was
but
interesting.
Remember,
Yeah.
they're talking about the only during the beta, and they're talking about mobile kits to be deployed.
Yes.
To
Yes.
be available once they start
Yeah,
shipping.
full.
So
Yep.
it's like, yeah, it makes total sense for people who are on the move all the time.
These are people. This is that whole. No. Did you watch Nomadland, the movie?
Not yet. It's on my watch
It's
list.
good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I
But
heard it's good.
that there is a whole culture that of people that now there's two different really
Right.
groups. There's the rich people that drive around in a Class A
Yeah.
for fun, and then there's people who do it for recreation, and there's people who live this way because they can't afford to do anything else.
Right.
And so it was very interesting to see the whole culture of people who literally they're not really homeless because they have disconnected. Yeah, disconnected.
Yeah.
Yes, and what that culture is like. Fascinating.
Let's see what else is here. Did you? Apple introduced a bunch of stuff last week, but here is something kind of on the funny side. It says hold off on purchasing that iPhone mount for your motorbike. Suspense.
Okay.
No,
Going to USB-C.
no. I mean,
Okay.
well, just I mean, for motorbike to hold your iPhone.
Okay.
Apparently, people want to use it as a GPS. In a new Apple support post, first seen by Mac Rumors, the tech giant has warned that high amplitude vibrations, specifically those generated by high power motorcycle engine, transmitted through handbars, can damage its phone cameras. As the publication notes, the damage can be permanent. A simple Google search will surface posts over the past few years by users whose cameras were ruined after they mounted their iPhone on their bike, mostly so they can use it for navigation. Mac
You
Rumors.
know,
What?
you know what this means.
But
It's just people are going to buy mounts now that are going to cost like $100 or something that will deflect the
Isolation. Yeah.
vibrations. They cancel the vibration. It's not like people will stop doing it, but now it's like literally created an industry of specialized mounts for motorcycles that cost way more than they should. And
now you can do that, or they said that what Apple recommends is for slower vehicles like mopeds and scooters, at least use a vibration dampening mount to minimize the chances of any damage.
That leads to ask the question. So do the iPhone cameras use electronic vibration canceling, or do they do it with, is it a mechanical thing? That if that's because if it's subject to vibration, it could be that there's some mechanical element to the anti-vibration
sure.
compensation in the camera.
And
Because there were, I mean, electronic is always better because there's no moving
Yeah,
parts, but
right.
still.
so this report is from Engadget. So they recommend just use another GPS device to make sure you don't ruin a device that costs hundreds to over $1,000. So yeah, get yourself a GPS. You know, they're nothing these days.
I wonder if this is so. I mean, this is obviously right. We're dishing Apple about it, but I wonder if other phone manufacturers suffer from the same problem.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Maybe Apple's just
Yeah.
getting out ahead of it.
Yeah,
Maybe. And
Yeah.
remember now, if you're riding a motorcycle, and you have the phone in your jacket pocket or in your it's okay. Apparently,
Yeah,
they're
there's
talking about
no
it.
direct. Yeah, it has
Yeah.
to be where there's direct vibration.
They're talking about mounting it on the handlebar, which where it's the only place you can.
A common way that people do it is they have a gas tank backpack, they call it, where it lays over the top of the gas tank and has like a map pocket. And it has a map, a clear, what do you call it? A clear envelope that you can put paper in to look through. So you could put your phone in there too, and it would be cushioned because it's sitting on top of the.
yeah, but it's still a lot of vibrations because it's attached to the body.
Yeah,
so,
I will.
Yeah,
I mean,
not,
if I have
it's not hard, but if it's not hard mounted, if it's laying on top of something, it won't transfer as much.
I would
So.
go with Engadget's recommendation.
buy a cheap Android phone.
Yeah,
for $200 or something, and use it
or just get a GPS, which will probably cost less than $100.
Yeah, but then you get into the world of
Multiple
you still
devices.
need a display to be mounted somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So if you just get a GPS, then you don't have online maps. You don't, right? It's buying a cheap phone. You solve all of that in a very small encasing, and it does the work.
That's true. That is true.
That's the thing. So buy another. This is interesting. The recommendation to buy another GPS device, right, isn't helpful. But basically, it needs to be, right, a GPS device with maps. So they're doing everything they can to say, hey, use another phone.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I remember the first time my cousin flew into Raleigh. I think it was back in the 80s. Yeah, it was back in the 80s, and GPS was not a
Nope,
common thing.
wasn't open yet. Yep.
But he had a GPS device. It was pretty big. And it was just strapped to his steering in the plane. And so he could
on
so
the
he could
plane,
in
he had
the
it on the plane.
yeah.
Yeah. Because it was the
I mean, I saw something there and I said, "What is that?" Said, "Oh, that's the GPS." I said, "What's that?"
yeah.
I have an
So
aviation
GPS at that
GPS.
time was like 100 meters or more in accuracy. The
Well,
public
yeah.
never got the encryption codes for high density, high quality location
mhm.
was released only late
Yeah, but
late
What was
2000.
that during the Gulf War? They turned off that encryption and to enable, because they needed a lot of handheld GPSs, and they sourced them from Garmin and places like that for the troops
Right.
for Desert Storm. So they turned it off, but they didn't tell the public. So they
Desert
were
Storm,
using
that's 90s.
whatever, 1990, whatever it was,
Yeah,
91,
1991. Yeah.
and they turned off the last bits of encryption so that they could make those handheld consumer ones work for the troops, because they needed a source of. So that's when they turned it. That's when it's. Yeah, it's fascinating, because all of a sudden people are saying, oh, this just got a lot more accurate.
Yeah, I do remember that, but I thought it was later on. You say 1991?
91 was when they turned it off, but they didn't say anything about it. They made a formal announcement afterwards to say that they were going to leave it open, but the military encryption version of it was, of course, restricted. The rumor has it now that there's a new generation GPS that the military is using with new satellites that are supposedly more accurate and also more less vulnerable to attack by other satellites. I don't know how they do it, but that's the rumor, is that they put the next gen up there, and that's what the military is using, and they're just going to let the other system decay over time. I think there are less satellites active now. I used to have a laptop application with a GPS receiver, and you could actually see a map of the sky. It was great. That showed all the satellite locations, and so you could tell how many were in view and what the azimuth was and all that. And I'm just driving around with my GPS in the car now. There are times when it loses its mind because it says it doesn't have an accurate enough signal, which I thought was like, how could that be? There's so many satellites.
Yeah.
And it's in the open. It's not like I'm in a cave or something. So
actually the Wikipedia page for GPS is very interesting. I don't understand the numbers because I haven't read everything, but it says total satellites 77, but it says satellites in orbit 31. So it seems like they're rotating, they're replacing things across time, because the first launch was 78, right? So it has been there for a while. But it does, so on accuracy, it says when selective availability was lifted in 2000, so only 2000, that's the latest, GPS had about a 5-meter accuracy. And that's what I remember from car and navigation and early phones. It was like 10 to 50 meters, right? So here they're talking about 5 meters, which is 16 feet. GPS receivers that use the L5 band, which we don't know what that means, can have much higher accuracy, pinpointing to within 30 centimeters. 30 centimeters is like 12 inches, right? So yeah, I didn't know the accuracy is that high.
Yes, as I found an article about performance of the GPS system during the Gulf War. And it talks specifically about how they rolled out these handheld devices and they had to adapt the satellite system for the war.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess it was a lot later that they actually made the announcement about freeing it up. So maybe they turned
okay.
they turned the encryption. Yeah.
Was the first conflict in which the military widely used GPS. So that, but I don't think the accuracy was lifted then. I think it was just the first time. Later, the second entry to Iraq, probably that's when you're talking about
Lifting the
yeah,
I didn't have
selective
access
availability, they call it.
I only started flying in '94, and I have an aviation GPS that
Right.
it's a specialized maps and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and databases, but
Well,
it was pretty accurate.
look, they're talking about launching it in '78, right? When this was like started, but at that time it was also in competition with I think Magnavox. They had their own satellite systems for global positioning. It was used by Navy ships,
Magnavox,
where the
really?
accuracy the accuracy wasn't required to be as accurate as the GPS was providing, but it existed even before. So
that was really just a navigation thing, not for necessarily for weapons accuracy, things like that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It wasn't weapon grade or like map associated. It was more global positioning, as it sounds like. Where am I on the globe? So military and stuff like that, they could have better navigation equipment. I was in the Israeli Navy, right? And I remember, and I was in the Israeli Navy mid '90s. So I remember the Magnavox system getting defunct and us moving completely to GPS. So yeah, that was
here in the article I'm reading. It says performance during the Gulf War. Now it's 1990. This is from a Department of Defense report published in 1992. It said that the GPS was a godsend for ground troops, especially in frequent sandstorms. It said the Kuwait War was the first combat use of the system, usually successful. And it said that they, in the event, let's see, GPS could be switched to coded transmissions, but in the event, not enough special receivers were available, so GPS network could not be switched to the coded mode. That meant that everyone, including the Iraqis who had standard GPS receivers, which was widely available, commercial, could use the GPS to find their own position with accuracy.
They needed to know which way to run.
Yeah.
All right.
So they did turn the coding off.
Spencer, are you ready for specials?
Can be. With a few simple clicks and a little changing of the zoom on my browser, I can certainly go. And we have a special announcement to make.
Okay.
For Computers 2K Now specials. You heard it here for the first time. NASA, which was paying you to spend 8 months locked in a Mars simulator, they offered this program to people that wanted to try. So now they've lifted the 8-month limitation, and you can stay permanently in for COVID. If you're concerned about COVID, so they're opening the program up now so that you can stay permanently within this Mars simulation. And the only caveat is it says that you sign over all your earthly assets and then just go and you live there. And it said, escape the madness forever. But there is as usual, there's an asterisk here, right? It says air supply only guaranteed for 3 months.
And you have to agree to drink Kool-Aid.
You have to agree, yeah, and that's it. And this, by the way, is fully endorsed by Bill Gates. He says, "Do your part to save the Earth." So it's great news for those people who want to get out there and.
Is that instead of the vaccine?
Oh no, no, they're vaccine required. You got to show your vaccine card.
Do you remember? You read all Douglas Adams, right?
Yes.
I think it's the third book where there's the three ships that were sent, and the guys Arthur Dent and Ford, they encountered the third ship, the ship of all of the not the rich and not the educated.
Oh,
And that's the source of Earth, right?
yes,
It's like
we got the class
the
C.
unwanted ones. Yeah, the maintenance guys and
Yeah.
the stupid and
Oh, he had a great sense of humor. I mean, he
he
was
was.
writing more stuff when he died. It was a shame.
Yeah,
He
I
had some
read
brilliant mind
I read his posthumous publication of stuff that was found on his
on his computer.
laptops and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was a blast reading everything. It's so sad that his mind isn't around anymore.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Yep.
Yeah, good guy.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, so starting with our friends at Staples, and it's consistent that each week, if I do use Staples and Office Depot and Best Buy, they do have some good deals. It's sometimes hard to find. Sometimes you need to be an informed buyer and know that maybe this inflated price that they dropped isn't necessarily a great deal, but they have some availability. I mean, you go out and look at each week to week, and they may have 6 or 8 things available. And as you scroll through the rest of the things that not available, down the line. So supply chain seems to be freeing up a bit, and the leader there is Lenovo. And I don't know why. Maybe what it is they're doing, but they seem to be getting the product into the country because they got a lot of new stuff out there, and they seem to be the HP's there. Don't see Dell much. Acer is there. All right. So starting with Staples, we've got an Acer Chromebook, 14-inch, a Celeron N4000 processor, which is a quad, 4 gig memory, 64 gig eMMC for $239, which is normally $269, so $30 off. Got an HP 14-inch Pavilion Intel i7 laptop, 256 SSD, 8 gig of memory for $619, which is normally $819, so it's $200 off. What leads you to believe, well, the list price was it inflated to make the sale look good? But this seems to be a pretty typical price with today's inflation. HP also has a desktop Intel i7 for $639, which is $110 off the regular price.
None of these mention which generation i7.
You can get it if you drill down into the
Okay.
yeah, which is always a good idea. Research.
Okay. All right.
They do Staples and Office Depot will, in a lot of cases, put new. Now, whether it means it's a new model or new to them to carry is got to look at.
Okay.
But sometimes it will say new. They've got an HP 24-inch all-in-one desktop desktop i3 for $599, which is $60 off the regular price. $40 off, sorry. And we've got a HP 27-inch LED FHD curved monitor. This is a 4K monitor. Fast response. I don't know if they call it a gaming monitor or not. $219, which is $70 off. Got a Lenovo IdeaPad
4K?
i5.
Not 4K.
It's not 4K?
No, 180.
Oh, I thought it was 4K.
No,
I can't read that.
You won't see a lot of gaming screens in 4K yet.
Because of
Gaming in 4K
speed issues?
isn't, price issues.
Refresh
It's
issues? Yeah.
No, it's very, very expensive because you need really high-end hardware to play it, and the display, if you want more than 60 hertz for 4K, yeah, very expensive.
That's fine because I'll never build a machine that will need it. So.
Probably.
My eyes are, I'm going at the point, it's like, could I even see it?
I don't think it's just
They're talking about
Like
the kids using it.
Oh no, I
I mean,
realize that.
it's the well versed players. They are the only ones who actually can notice a difference, right? Because they are just in the millisecond of the action. So yeah,
So their brains have been trained.
definitely it has to do with the. I mean, I see my son when he plays a very widespread game called Rocket League, right? It's not super high end graphics, but of course 3D. It's an arena that always shifts it, and he noticed when the screen is not on 60 hertz, right? He noticed, or when the refresh rate is high, he actually benefits from it. I I don't see any difference.
You're spending too much time in front of it.
It's all too much movement for me anyway. So.
All right.
Okay, so we've got a Lenovo IdeaPad i5 50.6 for $499, which is $200 off.
It's a 5i.
5i?
High-five.
No, it's the new processor is the 5i because they built it backwards.
Oh
They
yeah,
they flipped the dies over. Now they're making it
Mhm.
backwards. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got the iPad 10.2. Now, it is considered to be the latest model, but this is getting old in the tooth now, and I think there's going to be some changes coming. So the price is $279, $50 off the regular price.
That is low.
It is
for
low.
an iPad.
I got the deal when I bought mine. I got it for $250, and that was from B&H Photo. It was the latest one. So they think there may be something coming in this 10.2 space. The next generation iPad Mini is in pre-order, and
Well,
that. Go ahead.
I do have something to say about the 10-inch space of tablets. So Amazon, their latest iteration has 3 gigabytes of RAM, which makes it makes the tablet. Amazon is always like the slow tablet, right? And the 3 gigabytes one, I talked about it, I think either a week ago, two
You
weeks
did,
ago.
yeah.
It's fantastic. There's no longer, it doesn't feel like a low end tablet anymore. So definitely keep that in mind.
That's a 10-inch one?
Yeah, and that goes for $100, right? It's like
That's a good deal.
You're comparing this and this. It's like, oh, right.
I still have an old Fire tablet, an older one. It's got to be 4 years old. And if I do use it occasionally, it still works great.
It works.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, you're not putting a heavy load on it, but at the same time, it's for the price. I think I paid back then like $49 for it.
Yeah. So you probably have the 7-inch. Yeah, definitely. I bought one in the past. Definitely.
Yeah. So and I use it occasionally, and it's great if you want to watch videos, things like that. It's great. The only thing that's a little squirrely now as it gets older is the battery life, but
yeah,
it's still good.
That's everything.
Yeah. So you keep it plugged in. All right. So $279 for the Apple iPad 10.2. This is an interesting. This next product is Netgear product. It's not a sale price, but what caught my eye on this, it might just be a marketing move. I don't know. They're taking, and the picture that they showed in the ad was not this product. It was a cable modem. I don't know why. I'm looking, I said, that's not a repeater. That's not a mesh repeater. I'm looking at the thing, and I said, that's not it. So I clicked on it, took the name, and I went and searched. And sure enough, it's a plug-in range extender, but they call it the AX1600 mesh extender. So what it claims to do is one of the problems you have with creating a Wi-Fi range extender is that it takes the SSID that it's extended and adds like EX in front of it. So now it's like you still have to have, in a lot of cases, a manual handoff. Unless there's some software that's going to make it happen. Maybe your device will detect the higher signal strength and eventually switch over, but it's not automatic in some cases. Supposedly, what they do with this is that they use the same SSID. So now the handoff will happen much more gracefully. I have this feature turned on my TP-Link routers so that it's the same SSID on both routers, and it will use the very basic signal strength to change without having to do a manual change, which is nice. So if this does what it says it's going to do, it does say it's backwardly compatible to B, 802.11b, B all the way up through AC, but it says it does support Wi-Fi 6. So good. If it does what it says it's going to do for the price and builds a mesh with any existing router using the same SSID, then this could be very cool.
But you still need to have it in a place where there is signal from the router.
Oh, absolutely. No, in the mesh product, it's the same thing. You have to have a backhaul network.
It does have an Ethernet port. So if you can extend you can also daisy chain it with an Ethernet port.
Yes, you can. Yeah, and most of them are that way. Yeah. And you could use it also as an Ethernet converter at the far end. So if you have an Ethernet device that doesn't have Wi-Fi in it, you can use this as a Wi-Fi extender. Mm-hmm. So they do have multiple uses. Some of them can do that and be a range extender at the same time, which is nice. So the price is making me say I'm not going to go out and test this. Yeah. But it's a fascinating way. I hope it's not just marketing, but they are claiming in what I read to say that it does do AX and it does use that same SSID, which the cheap ones don't do this. So,
and interesting enough, they're not adamant that the existing router needs to be Netgear.
Yep. No, any existing router. That's what it fascinated me. I said it's not a proprietary handoff. Like TP-Link uses a proprietary version of the standard to do their fast handoff because they're talking to each other, and so it's interesting. But this doesn't require a change to the client, which is good. There's no special. There was something that back in the day Nortel sold called the Pico network. We built a Wi-Fi network for the New York Stock Exchange. And because of the density on this trading floor, those devices were so close together, they had to have instant handoff like within meters. So they built a special add-on to the standard to do this fast handoff at high speed for the trading floor of the stock exchange. So it was called, I don't pronounce it Pico or Pico. I don't know what the name, how it goes. But it was a special feature that was built into the Nortel Wi-Fi system at the time. Designed specifically for fast handoff with no latency and no delay. Okay, that's it for staples. For Office Depot, Office Max, got some laptop deals. Asus VivoBook 15. This is a Core i3, $379. Regular price is $549, so it's $170. I'm sorry if I hear the text in the background now because my son and daughter-in-law are in the process of thinking that she's having her baby. So she was breech, and they went in for a procedure yesterday to turn the baby, which was successful, and she came home. But she's been having on and off contractions since then. So we're waiting for the word. We're going to be, Pam is going to go over right away so they can leave and watch Lucas, our grandson. But we're going to be taking care of Lucas for a couple of days because Aaron, once he goes into the hospital to be with her, he's not allowed to leave and come back. So visitors. So he's going to stay as long as possible, as long as needed. And then we're going to watch Lucas while they're in the hospital. So that's why if you hear the sound in the background, it's because I'm monitoring text.
That's okay. Here. That's fine.
Yeah. So
I'm taking you back to the mesh extender. Right now on Amazon, it looks like they're in some sort of promotion price because it's only $100. And the price history, it's only 52 days. So it's a brand new product and there's no reviews yet. So it's still. But
the good thing
they have it for 100. Oh, it's good.
You can get it, and if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, you return it.
It's easy to return with Amazon.
Yeah. I'd like to do that just to do an open box and test, send it back.
Interesting.
Oh, I didn't say that on the air. Sorry. Okay. So the Lenovo IdeaPad i3 15.6 for $649. Seems expensive for that. Call it a 3i. What is wrong with them now? Did they change their?
It looks like the Lenovo naming
Is
Right. Right.
Yeah.
it's
So
because
a
it's an i7.
ThiaPad. Yeah.
Yeah, it is an i7. So 3i
Yeah,
is their.
so
That's confusing.
yeah, it is. It
Well,
makes it real. Yeah.
Lost in translation
the
there.
Yeah.
Russians, the Chinese are confusing us. It's just
Um,
part of their strategy.
Culture. Yeah. Obfuscate.
Mhm.
Okay, so it is an i7, and it is 649, 200 off. And they have a. It was hard to find a really inexpensive monitor, although there are a few out there. Couldn't find anything in the 24 range that was less than like 150 or 160. But here's a 21.45. Get your rulers out. Uh, HD monitor for 119, normally 134. And then we've got a Lenovo Idea Center 5 Core i5 desktop for 599, which is 170 off the regular price. And then a Lenovo IdeaPad 3i brand with an i3. So it's a 3i i3. Remember that. For 399. And that's 220 off the regular price. Got a 32 gig SanDisk flash drive, 799. There's lots of deals on flash drives out there. This is just one I picked. Grabbed it quick.
They're beating the market with obfuscation.
Yeah. Do you remember when there was a guy that tried to build a supercomputer and was stacking processors, but also to use for memory, he was stacking USB flash drives to create this gigantic.
I remember a student creating a multi-core supercomputer with Raspberry Pis stacked, but
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
Yeah. We were involved in an effort at IBM when they had their what they called the RISC 6000, which was their workstation, which was late to market. They could have commanded the market because they had a product years before other people did, but they squashed it because of the mainframe business. But they were building a way to stack processors, stack machines using networking. And they were looking at an inexpensive way to do it. You could use all kinds of fiber methodologies that were very expensive and proprietary, but they wanted to try to do it using gigabit Ethernet. So we built them a gigabit network, lab network here in Raleigh using our gigabit product at the time, so they could hook all their machines up, multiple gigabit connections to this backbone to try to build a meshed, basically a best meshed processing environment.
And how many flash drives?
No flash drives in this.
Oh, I thought we thought okay.
No, I was saying I just
Never mind.
buy these cheap flash drives with the market being flooded. So. Okay.
$799 for 32 gig.
Yeah. You can find
Nice. Yeah.
Good deals. It's even cheaper than this.
Yeah.
But this is just a brand name.
Yeah, especially when you buy like a bulk of 15 pieces or something, 16 pack and stuff like that. Yeah.
I bought a package of inexpensive, I think it was 16 gig at one point, and I think it was like $19. And
yeah,
I
so
just
I
threw
have
them
here a 10 pack of 32. Used already a few of them. Let's see how much I paid for it. Yeah, go on. Don't
Okay.
wait for me.
So we've got a Logitech C920S HD camera for $59.99. That's 10 off. And I need to go back and check. I always wanted to. I'm looking at replacing my camera, which is getting pretty old. But this is I want to know what the S means. And I think it says Pro HD, but the price is making me wonder if this isn't just a rebranded, repackaged older camera. I really have to look at this to see.
I mean, even if it's a new one, right? But it's the same. They're branding it the same thing, right? And 920. So I'm thinking it's just a continuation of the same line.
I don't think the 920 was 15 megapixel.
Yeah, I have an older. That's what I have is an old 9. No, mine's a 910.
It's fine.
I can't remember which.
I mean, this is a good price for
resolution. Is what is 15 mega? It's 180. So I think it's the same.
But I've had my camera now, oh gosh, 5-6 years, maybe longer. I think I bought this when I was still at Nortel, so it's got to be, gosh, 8 years ago. So I think it's time to get a newer one.
Works fine.
Yeah, it does work good. And I have the old 9000 too, the
Yeah.
one that the predecessor to this that still works.
Yeah.
So, although drivers are getting squirrely, so got a Canon image class. I looked at deals on laser printers. You didn't see anything from Brother. You saw a few HPs, but Canon is out there with the sales this week. And I picked a mid range all-in-one because the very simplest one was like $129, but this one is also a fax machine. So this is the Canon image class D570 duplex wireless monochrome all-in-one printer, $179, which is 50 off.
I love
And then
how they still say black and white.
Yeah. It's not gray. Well, it can be gray. It does do grayscale. Yeah, it has to do grayscale.
Yeah, but it's not. It's monochrome. It's not color.
Yeah, if you say monochrome, black, because
black
the
toner.
white is not. Where's the
Well,
white go? Where do you
the
get the
paper.
white cartridge?
You got to understand that we had
I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
we got
okay.
this is because of the third ship. We got the third ship.
Yeah.
And we just don't understand this stuff.
definitely
We have
got
to
the
be
third
explained.
chip.
Yeah, we got the third ship.
I mean,
We didn't get all the smart people.
All right.
And finally, we had talked about this earlier, the Triplite USB-C M.2 enclosure. This is from Triplite, and it does have the USB 3.1 Gen 2, which I don't know what the advantages are. I can't elucidate on the advantages of between Gen 1 and Gen 2, but there are advantages. So it depends on your environment. But it looks really well made, robust, but made.
I'll send you to a YouTube video by
Explains the difference.
Linus Tech
Yeah.
Tips. He tries to make sense out of it because it's so confusing.
It is.
starts by
The way memory is addressed, and it's just really. Yeah.
And at the end of the video, you can print out like a small card after all of the explanation that you can actually understand what's going on.
Is that
there.
you have to bring out like a vaccine card? Say, I understand USB-C and USB-C. Right?
I mean, you need a reference card to figure this out. It's like cannot contain everything in your mind.
It's like I used to have a really good.
Stay sane.
I still have it on the shelf somewhere, but I had a networking protocol reference card that would go beyond just talk, for like different all layers of the network and what the protocols were and how they worked. And I kept it with me because there are times when I would be asked a question that I thought, I don't know the answer to that question. So I would bring it, and it was great because it basically taught me by being able to answer the question. That's the best way to learn something is to try to teach it. So, yeah. All right. So actually, I forgot to put Best Buy on the top of this. My mistake. But these are all Best Buy, this last page. And we've got a Lenovo Flex 5 13-inch Chromebook with a Pentium 7505. I don't know the details on this processor. I'm guessing it's a dual core with each 2 logical cores. So it probably shows up as 4. 4 gig memory, 32 gig eMMC Chromebook, $299, $120 off. And an HP Intel Core i3 laptop for $469, $30 off. Got a Dell 2-in-1 14-inch touchscreen convertible laptop for $679, which is normally $879. High five. And a Lenovo Idea Center. This is a all-in-one 24-inch. So here's the i3 brand again. i3.
3i.
3i i3. God, I wonder if that's not going to blow up in their faces. Because people are going to think everything's an i3. Oh, well. It's a 23.8-inch non-touchscreen all-in-one for $599, normally $669, so 70 off. Got a
They're just
Samsung
challenging
20.
The Geek Squad. That's all.
Oh, okay. That's it. Yeah, they're going to have their cue card, their little cheat sheets.
They want to prove that the geek are really geek.
Oh, and Samsung AM500 series LED smart Tizen monitor. I don't know what Tizen is, a brand. It's $219.30 off, but it comes with a remote, which is interesting.
You talked about it. You actually
did I do something? I talked about it.
Yeah, like I probably 2 months ago or something when this came out. It's like it's a monitor, not a TV, but it has smart TV capabilities.
Yeah,
so it doesn't have the RF tuner, right?
Oh, I can see the menu there. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember we were talking about this unique choice of marketing niche.
What does that look like to you as far as it? Is this a Roku device? Is this a
no Tizen? Tizen is the Samsung
their own. It's their own smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm looking at it, looks very similar to the Fire Stick in some ways.
But it's whatever they have on every Samsung TV, basically.
Yeah. Which is probably somebody's that they made it proprietary.
It's theirs. It's their own. It's been Tizen. It's their name of the OS that they use on their devices. So their watches is Tizen. Their phone before Android, their phones used to be Tizen as well. Right? So it's like their own proprietary internal one. Remember Nokia had the CBN?
Yeah.
Cybin or whatever that name was. Yeah.
So here is now the only reason I mentioned this one is because it's a good deal. Now, I don't know how good it is, but the AllureCheck 4K Ultra HD live broadcast webcam for $79, which is $100 off the regular price. Now, what makes it better is the wider it is, the better it is, right? Is that true? So if it's really wide, it has to be good. Oh, look at that. It's so wide. It must be great. I have no idea why it's so wide.
It's got more circuitry in it.
I don't know. It's got the further apart they make the microphones, the better the stereo is. I don't know.
It allows them to print the 4K bigger.
That's it. Okay. That's it. All right. So for $79, I didn't research it. I just grabbed it because it was so much off, 100 off. Okay. Samsung 870 series SSD, 2 terabytes for $189, say 40. Probably that's what the normal price you'd find out there in the Amazon world. So not a great sale, but probably might be hard to find this particular model. The 870 is one step up. What's their other one's the 860 series, I think.
50.
So
860, yeah. Right.
So make sure this isn't one of the ones that they're rebranding with different that the actual flash memory itself is dumbed down. Western Digital Easy Store 14 terabyte external drive.
Everybody needs one.
Everybody needs one. Yeah, I get 2 or 3 of them. $269, which is $150 off the regular price, and finally a USB 3.0 64 gig PNY flash drive for $999. Was $19.99. I'm surprised that a 3.0 64 gig was list price for $19.99. That was pretty good, but $999 is even better. Now these, you notice I did include where it said deal ends. So these are today's deals. They're over in, well, it was 16 hours 3 hours ago. So
it ends today.
It ends today. Yeah, by the end of today.
Yeah.
And that's it for Computer Security 2K Now specials. I'm available if you want me to help you sign up for the NASA Say Goodbye to Earth program. So let me know if you're ready to go. I do get a small commission for everybody I sign up. And they do give you a cool jumpsuit. You get to pick red or blue.
And
you only get one though.
Once you sign yourself to the program, can you leave?
You leave now.
Not. They're probably
standing up.
I was going to say you'll leave at room temperature. So yeah, after the air runs out, I wonder how long that would last. Interesting. That original the NASA will pay you to spend 9 months. That's a real thing.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, they did that. It was back. That story was from the middle of last year, not quite a year ago, the end of last year that they were doing this. So, but it's funny how the room that they're showing looks like it's made out of wood. And I don't think they'd be building a spaceship out of wood unless it was just the materials, which looks like cheap paneling actually in the background. So don't expect it to be super high tech. It's really just a test to see if people don't kill each other spending 8 months together. So, and what kind
Knowing
of anxiety?
that there's a pandemic out there.
That's right. We can't leave. We can't leave. What was the, remember that biosphere thing they built in Arizona?
Yeah.
That they were going to, then that event, it did run for a while, but some of the people went nuts and left.
I mean, there were problems.
Yeah.
I do remember reading something about like a second biosphere, but I think the first one wasn't a success or something, right? It was like
well, they did have there were systems problems they had with air conditioning and water purification and other things like that, and the plants that they were going to grow didn't grow. So they had an issue there. And then the people that were living there, at least one person had some type of a breakdown.
Right. So there's Biosphere 2 in Arizona. I'm trying to remember what happened for the first iteration.
The first one. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but this one was constructed, the end of the construction was 91. So this is definitely the one we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember this. What did it end with? Yeah, so there was a second. During the middle of the second experiment, the managing companies was dissolved. The money facility was in limbo. Yeah.
Well,
it's part of the University of Arizona since 2011. They took ownership.
Yeah, I seem to remember
I
that.
Think
they took it over. Yeah.
I don't think it. I don't think it's alive at this point. Or
I don't think they're not using
anything substantial. Yeah.
They might be using it as a habitat for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not closed where people can't go in and out.
I remember this was like an exciting new experiment.
Now they use it for a faculty retreat. Send them away for the weekend.
All right.
Those who couldn't get the grant.
That's it. We'll get you re-educated. No. They're going to get educated.
They are doing tests on battle royales.
Oh, that reminds me that they announced the premiere date for the new Bond movie. So it's going to be in the middle of October, and it's in theaters only.
Well,
that's what they say.
Weeks.
Oh yeah, I realized. I went by the Regal Theater in Apex the other day, and I thought they were gone, and it was open. I thought they closed. I thought they closed the doors.
Regal, but I think some of their cinemas changed hands. The Regal in Apex, I think it's no longer branded Regal.
It said Regal. We saw. I drove by and I specifically looked inside the ticket booth, and it said Regal, unless they haven't changed their signs.
Yeah, I don't know, but I went to an AMC this week with my son. We went to see a Free Guy, fun movie by the way. And yeah, I mean it was on the one hand completely normal, right? The theater was almost empty as usual, and for a middle of the week showing, but on the other hand, you see that they are not bringing enough money because maintenance is crap. Right?
Oh, I would guess.
The soda machines, only 2 out of the 4 are working. In the bathroom, one of the bathrooms is leaking or something. It's like there's like this degrading state that they're not picking up the slack because they're probably they're not making enough money to pick up the slack.
I had that as I drove by this the other day. I had that exact thought about how are they doing, because you went by and they had their Apex Cinema neon sign in the front,
Yeah.
where several of the letters weren't lit.
Yeah,
So-
it's something like that, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it was definitely. I was thinking, how did they? Number one, how did they stay alive?
Just
And
give it
number
time.
two, what kind of budget are they working with? This is what
Right.
fascinates me about the retailers that we use: Office Depot, Staples, and Best Buy. They all had financial issues before the pandemic,
exactly.
and yet the pandemic seemed to have revived them in a lot of ways because of the demand for stuff to stay at home with.
Right.
So
Online ordering covers
Yeah.
most of the expenses. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be home all the time. I need a better TV. I'm going to be home. I need a better network, better computer, or I need something I don't have. So it's amazing.
All right. Is that are you done talking about the cinema?
Yeah.
All right, here's something for everybody. Anyone with a Microsoft account can now remove their password from the account entirely to enable better security.
Which account?
Microsoft account. Goes, for the past couple of years, we've been saying that the future is passwordless.
Right.
And today,
I remember that.
I am excited to announce the next step in that vision. Microsoft Corporate Vice President Vasau Jakal writes in the announcement post. You know, I'm amazed how all these names in all these big companies, they're all Indian names. It's just amazing. It's like a complete turn. You don't see any American name. Anyway, beginning today, this was last week, you can now completely remove the password from your Microsoft account. As for the why of this change, Microsoft points to the fact that passwords are insecure and are the focus of over 18 billion attacks every year or 579 attacks every second. Before you can go passwordless, you'll need the Microsoft Authenticator app on your smartphone. Then you can use Windows Hello, a security key, or a verification code that's sent to an email address, or your phone, or a compatible app or service like Outlook, OneDrive, Microsoft Family Safety, and more to sign in.
So it's like
Depending on the
multi-factor
location.
authentication by removing the first factor and creating a couple more.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
It's not
Uh,
that different from SSH authentication keys, right?
Yeah.
But if it will be baked into the OS, and it will be, if it will be easier than typing in a password, yeah, I'm all for it. As long as there
Sure.
are backups, or what do you do when your phone is dead and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of websites, especially medical websites and that now that are using. You can tell it that this is a not a public device and not require second factor authentication. But I'm okay with this. I mean, it's just
No,
if something happens and I don't have my phone or I can't get, I can't, if I have to, the machine I'm trying to log into is the one they're going to send the email to. That's kind of not going to work. So you have to have another device, definitely another working device. So if you just have one computer and no other access, this isn't going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're targeting those people anyway.
All right. Let's see. As far as Apple, I mean, again, there's different ones. Apple introduced eSIM support on iPhone with iPhone XR and iPhone XS in 2018. However, while you can use a regular SIM and an eSIM simultaneously, there was no way to use two SIMs simultaneously until now. iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro feature dual eSIM support for the first time. So those that need such Now you can actually use it. Nice. There is here. Let me just read the article. Google announced plans last week to port its permission auto reset feature from Android 11 to older version of its mobile operating system, as far back as Android 6. Launched last fall, the permission auto reset feature works by automatically withdrawing user permissions from an app that hasn't been opened and used for a few months. Starting in December 2021, we are expanding this feature to billions more devices. This feature will automatically be enabled on devices with Google Play services that are running Android 6.0 API level 23 or higher.
They're
Exempt,
expanding it to older devices.
Yeah.
Okay.
exempt from this new feature will be device admin apps and enterprise apps where the permission have been fixed through a general enterprise policy. So if you're using a company phone that they set up certain way, they will not.
It just means that the company can control
Yeah,
their own apps
right.
like that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been seeing on our phones every now and then it says, "Hey, this app has not been using now for so many months. Do you want to remove it?" It's interesting.
I have on the upper side of 300 apps on my phone just because I keep downloading and testing and I like tinkering.
Yeah.
But I got to say that this generation and the generation before, battery has not been an issue. Battery drainage has not been an issue because of the amount of uh, apps, which before that, like a couple generations back, the phone would be sluggish just because I installed a lot of stuff, even though I didn't use it. So they are getting better in managing that.
It's just like a
That much I
computer.
would say.
When you install, you know.
Yeah, but if you install a lot of things on the computer, it usually doesn't affect anything unless you actually activate. Because, but with the way Android is designed, the fact that you install an application, uh, the application will will go alive depending on its hookups to the system, right? The application decides, I want to wake up when you connect to the network and when you disconnect to the network. I want to wake up when, there's a lot of things that will trigger the application to launch just by the fact that it's installed.
Right.
Not because you pressed it. Usually it wakes up, does something small, short, and goes back to sleep, right? That's the way it's supposed to be. But if you have 300 applications and all of them are hooked up to network activity, right, which is something that happens all the time, disconnecting, reconnecting, etc. So you get battery drainage really fast, and you get sluggishness because you get a lot of applications that want attention. And so the mechanism you're describing, right? What they are calling app usage tracking. I mean, today part of the OS, it tells you which apps you used for how long and stuff like that, and how long ago. And so the OS tracking all of that is smarter in deciding. I mean, the person, the human being, he hasn't touched this app for so long, right? I shouldn't even wake it up, even though the application wants to wake up. So you can set up bypasses because there are some applications that you want to only run in the background because they supply some sort of sensor data in the background, something like that. And that makes sense, but it requires you to understand that it is, on the one hand, application developers, they hate this, right? Because they need to educate their consumers to bypass all of these optimizations. But on the other hand, we get phones that last a lot longer, right?
Mhm.
So we need to understand why these features are there in the first place, and that they're not against us. It's just they might be a bit annoying, but they're good, right? Understand that they're good.
Oh, okay. It's always good for us.
Well, I mean, we're techies. We
Yeah.
like control, right? I mean, the people here that we're discussing and our listeners, I guess most of it, we like controlling the devices we use. But the easiest way would be, hey, if you don't use it, don't install it, right? That won't go with me.
Um, you guys use Telegram?
Yeah, I use it. Use it. I mean, I have an account,
It's got a bunch.
monitor it very
Yeah,
rarely.
a lot of bad publicity lately.
Interesting.
Telegram has exploded as a hub for cyber criminals looking to buy, sell, and share stolen data and hacking tools. New research shows.
Uh, interesting. Not phones?
They don't say phones, they say
No, I
Telegram.
mean, before that, it was phones, no?
Well,
Email has been
yeah, okay.
widespread used in crime.
As the messaging app emerges as an alternative to the dark web, an investigation by cyber intelligence group Cyberint, together with the Financial Times, found a ballooning network of hackers sharing data leaks on the popular messaging platform, sometimes in channels with tens of thousands of subscribers. Lured by its ease of use and light touch moderation. In many cases, the content resembled that of the marketplace found on the dark web, a group of hidden websites that are popular among hackers and accessed using specific anonymizing software. We have recently been witnessing a 100% plus rise in Telegram usage by cyber criminals, they say.
Interesting. You go to their webpage and it's cartoonish. The way they talk about the features is a bunch of animated rubber ducks talking simple, private, synced, fast, powerful, and literally cartoons. It's just interesting.
Well,
So I heard somebody the other day say that they were going to be thrown off of Twitter, so they're going to move to Telegram. And I didn't think that Telegram was a one-to-one replacement for Twitter.
No,
No.
I mean, it's a communication, but you can open channels where only the admin, for example, right, can post to it. So
Well, that's what I think
you
they're trying to do.
can,
Yeah.
right, you can use it that way. And I think one thing that Telegram does allow are channels with like massive amounts of users.
mhm.
Not only that, they were talking about monetizing these, not sharing monetization profits with users, but it's like putting ads on channels with like more than 5,000 users or something like that. So I don't know if they started doing it. It was like an idea that was floating around. So yeah, I mean, whatever works. It's the same thing as any other network where you can communicate with.
Sure.
So,
I mean, the criminal element always finds ways to new
the
ways.
criminal element exists,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they'll use something.
Probably everywhere.
It's let's put it this way: there's no specific interest for Telegram, the company, in this criminal users, right?
Mhm.
But they are a hands-off company. They are specifically specifically position themselves of we don't care what you do with the communication platform.
Mhm.
right? Their headquarters in Dubai, where they can have their most control over it. They're a private company, so they don't necessarily need to answer to any shareholders or anything. They don't need to publicly show how they're doing what they're doing. So that's their way of dealing with it, right? The alternative would be Signal, where Signal is a public, not a publicly, not not a public company, but a public. What's the name? Um, a nonprofit. So their tax records and everything,
It's
those are
available.
exposed, right?
Wide open, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Telegram as well is. I don't know about the servers, but I think their clients are open source, so they are doing the whole concept of peer reviewed technology, right? People have a lot of control about of how they're exposing themselves, and they can a lot of scrutiny there as well. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, they have a open API that they publish.
Or their
Yeah.
their API is open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here is something that will be interesting to a lot of techies. A free master decryptor for the REvil ransomware operation has been released, allowing all victims encrypted before the gang disappeared to recover their files for free. This is from Bleeping Computers. The REvil master decryptor was created by cybersecurity firm Bitdefender in collaboration with a trusted law enforcement partner. While Bitdefender could not share detail about how they obtained the master decryption key or the law enforcement agency involved, they told Blipping Computers that it works for all REvil victims encrypted before July 13th. As per our blog post, we received the key from a trusted law enforcement partner, and unfortunately, this is the only information we are at liberty to disclose right now. Once the investigation,
They didn't say. They didn't say the authority has 3 letters in their name.
no, and we're not saying it either. Once the investigation progresses and will come to an end, further details will be offered upon approval. REvil ransomware victims can download the master decryptor from Bitdefender. So you have to go to Bitdefender's website and decrypt entire computers at once or specify specific folders to decrypt. So if you are a victim and it happened before July 13th,
And you still have that hard drive.
and you still, well, I'm sure they do. I mean, we always hope that somebody will be able to do something. So here's your chance to decrypt all that stuff. That's good. I mean, we were talking sometime, over a year ago, about some website that had all those decryption.
Yeah, no more ransom, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Yeah. So here's an addition to that.
Yeah,
They
no
are.
more ransom.org.
Yep. I wonder if they have it there too. If they'll have it there too.
I'm checking their news release to see.
And but it's interesting.
Yeah, REvil.
Yep.
Shows up there. And tool made by Bitdefender. So definitely there.
Yeah. Emergency software patches in which users are pushed to immediately update phones and computers because hackers have figured out some novel way to break in are becoming more common. researchers raised the alarm last Monday about a big one. The Israeli spyware company NSO Group, which sells programs for governments to remotely take over people's smartphones and computers, had figured out a new way into practically any Apple device by sending a fake GIF through iMessage. The only way to guard against it is to install Apple's emergency software update. Such emergency vulnerabilities are called Zerodays, a reference to the fact that they are such an urgent vulnerability in a program that software engineers have 0 days to write a patch for it. Against the hacker with the right 0 day, there is nothing consumers can do other than wait for software updates or ditch devices altogether. So and you do see a lot of those. Okay, it's a 0 day patch. It's a 0 day patch for this, and it's a 0 day patch for that.
I think one thing to explain about 0 days
Yeah.
is it's not 0 days since the hack exists.
Right.
It's, we just found out that this is something we didn't know about, and we don't know who might be using it. So that's what 0 day means, right?
Yeah.
It can be really scary, and it can be
nothing,
right?
Yeah.
It's,
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we just found this is out there, and we're shocked. We were caught with our pants down.
Do you remember last week we were talking about Amazon coming up with their own TV?
Yeah.
Well, right behind them, Comcast is gearing up to do that too. Just so you know. Comcast. Yeah.
Who would buy a TV from Comcast?
I have no idea, but they say that it's not only for their subscribers. Anybody can use it. Yeah. And
Anybody can hate it.
a lot of people have iWatches.
Can you go to the
Everybody
Comcast TV store? I'm waiting for that to come. Or maybe there'll be a mobile van that drives you around with. They'll sell them off the back.
Oh, yeah, you can go to the the Spectrum
TV store
where
Yeah.
you drop the
Yeah.
you can wait in line.
You can't even do that anymore.
I know.
Yeah, you can.
You
Yeah,
got to take it to you. You got to take it directly to UPS. They
Well-
won't accept it at the store anymore. You can't drop off equipment.
I did. About
Well,
3
the last
4
time
weeks
I
ago.
went, they said
Yeah.
we don't accept equipment here anymore.
No.
The one on Maynard, they don't accept it. You have to take it to UPS.
It's a whole lot easier to go to UPS.
Oh, it is
UPS
easy.
store, yeah.
But
Anyway.
I want my receipt. But
Earlier
they will give you a receipt at UPS.
Earlier last week at Apple's iPhone 13 launch event, Apple introduced the Apple Watch Series 7 with a new, more seamless design with larger 41 millimeter and 45 millimeter cases that include larger, brighter, and more durable screens. There's also a variety of new colors to choose from. The update takes advantage of the bigger displays with more information and new watch faces like Contour, Modular, Duo, and World Timer. As for durability, Series 7 is the first Apple Watch with a dust resistance rating, IP6X, making it better suited for mountain climbing or the beach. The screen itself is more crack resistant thanks to a thicker new geometry. And you still get swim friendly WR50, that's 50 meters, water resistance. You won't confuse this with a rugged watch, but you might not panic quite so much after a fall. Is this 50 meter deep or 50 meter of swimming? I'm wondering. They just say 50 meter.
It's usually deep.
Yeah.
Depth. Yeah.
So they have a new watch. So now it's going to be even bigger.
Well,
Yep.
have we talked about a laptop manufacturer named Framework?
No, go for it.
So they are super interesting. They're a new kid on the block, a US company, and they're making modular laptops. You remember back at the day where
Oh,
every laptop would have a PCMCIA
yeah.
slot,
Yeah.
and you remember all of that?
Right.
So they're going back to that, but they found a way of making a stylish laptop. It's not bulky, it's not ugly, right?
With a
Where you
choice
can
of fabric covers,
uh, not fabric, but you can definitely change
skin,
your
skin.
the bezel color because it's a magnetic snap or something like
Oh,
that,
that's neat.
and you can replace. You know, if the keyboard went bust, it's very easy to go to the side and order the keyboard, and it's literally a snap in, snap out. Check out their site. It's really interesting.
Hmm.
It's like a completely fixable machine where they supply the different the replacement, and it has I/O modules that you can completely replace. You want more USB ports, you buy a USB port. You don't want a USB port, you want something else in there, uh, an Ethernet connector, right? You buy that. You don't need an Ethernet connector. You don't need it all. So it's like everything is modular. Everything inside is replaceable, easily replaceable, taggable. Um, very
Are
interesting.
they talking prices of like like a
A
machine?
laptop in its uh, in the same range of
Okay.
prices from
That's nice.
Lenovo and
Yep.
stuff like that, right?
That's nice.
I
Yeah.
mean, those are usually they're around. It starts $750 and it goes up, right? So,
Oh.
but you can
You can build
you,
your own. Hold the
yeah, you can
lettuce.
build your definitely a build your own but laptop,
Yep.
and it's finally right. This is sort of an old vision
I
for
mean,
envision for us.
that's the way I remember years and years, like back in the 90s, 80s, 90s. We used to build laptops, and you got the motherboard, different motherboards. You got the, like you said, the modules, and you just put it in there. But it was very bulky. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like there
Yeah.
was this excuse that it has
Yeah.
to be bulky, right?
Right.
And Apple, when they
Plus
came out with their with their Mac Air, right?
MacBook Air. Yeah.
MacBook Air. It's like it was this unfixable thing, right? Today people know how to open it and fix it and stuff, but it's always like this, you know, 38 steps fixing module to just replace a battery or something. So and it's not supported by the manufacturer, right? If you do that, you void your warranty and all that. Here it's no, this is by design that you can access every module, and it's okay with us that you open it and you replace it, and we'll send you the instructions. And it's I mean, they even QR code tag the elements, so you don't even need to go and look for the documentation. You just point your phone and you get to the documentation. It's very they have this very new, exciting approach to making this, proving right that the right to fix, the right to repair
Mm-hmm.
is more than possible. It can even be a cool thing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be this very complicated thing. So yeah,
Yep.
very exciting new contender in this marketplace.
Yeah. Absolutely. Remember last week we talked about Epic Games, and they're
Yeah,
well,
the lawsuit.
they did file a notice of appeal last Sunday.
Good.
So we'll see what happens with that. All right. It's that time of day again. Anything anybody wants to add?
I found the video about the USB. I posted it in chat.
Yeah.
The title, for those who are just listening, it's like a USB rant by Linus Tech Tip. So it's about 2 years ago.
Yeah, the dumbest thing about USB.
Dumbest thing. Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Spence, I guess nothing still with your.
No, we're still
Okay.
waiting.
Okay.
The doctor gave them instructions on
Okay.
what has to happen before they come in.
Okay.
So they're waiting to see what happens. Her contractions are not frequent enough for them to merit going in yet.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks, Spence. Thanks, Gal. I guess Nick is sleeping, probably, or very tired. Either that or real disappointed that he lost a bunch of money in the casinos. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, thanks, guys. It was good. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dina, Arlette and Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is doing his morning news show on WAAV in Wilmington, 980 The Wave. And Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do their infection podcast on Twitch. Just go to Twitch and look for Infection Podcast. One word, Infection Podcast. That's about survival games. We'll be back next week. See y'all.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.